Hey everybody, time to make another video. I see all these things going on in the news and media, liberal, conservative stuff that I watch, whether it be Fox News or CNN or Awesome Liberty Report by Ron Paul. And everybody's talking about transgenderism today. Nobody talks about reincarnation. Nobody's even really talking about spirituality. They don't want you to have spirituality. It's got to be YouTubers talking about it. I'm a libertarian, so I believe do whatever you want to do as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Libertarian values are the only values consistent with the law of universal free will. The universal law of free will. Whichever one, right? The Bible says you have free will, and Ascensionists, pagans all want you to know that you have free will. The government's the only one trying to take away your free will. And your right to raise your children the best way that you think is possible. But, the biggest issue right now with the LGBT community is, I think, the right to preach it in schools, the values of LGBT liberal thought in schools, and you got conservatives making fun of liberals all the time. You got liberals making fun of conservatives all the time. I don't think that that's anything new. That's just the divide and conquer. They want us to hate each other, hate, so that way we fight each other and kill each other off for them. Nobody's trying to fight the corporations anymore. Nobody's trying to fight the rich people anymore, unless you're into conspiracies like myself and realize that there are 13 rich families running our politicians. But that the numbers are getting fewer and further between, especially since the big BS with the sickness of 2020. They're shutting down a lot of people that believe in conspiracies because they don't want the truth coming out. They are conspiring against us. Liberals think conservatives are conspiring against us. Conservatives think liberals are conspiring against us. They're just conspiring to make us all hate each other. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about reincarnation and transgenderism. I was raised a liberal, okay? So I really have a lot of liberal beliefs and a lot of conservative beliefs because of my more right-leaning libertarian friends that help me see a lot of truth, especially when it comes to being an anti-socialist. I can't stand socialism or communism. They're wrong. They're disgusting. They're despicable. They take away it's to take away our freedoms. Oh, I'll give you some free stuff and take away your freedoms. Point is, I'm okay with LGBT community people doing what they want to do to their own body, their own life, and even how they want to raise their own children. I might disagree with it, but who's to say I'm right and you're wrong? I certainly don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe that the Bible is right. I do love Jesus Christ. I do not accept him as my Lord and Savior, but nowhere under the teachings of Jesus Christ did he say don't be LGBT. So, whatever. The rest of the Bible I don't believe in. And if you do, that's fine for you. Go ahead and believe it. That's you. You do you, right? Liberals do you. Conservatives do you. Libertarians, we're going to do us. We're going to do what we think is right. And in all, the government has no right to tell a parent how they can or can't raise their child as long as they aren't hurting that child. Now, gender reassignment surgery for children, it's going a little far, I think, but there's room for debate there. Liberals and conservatives can debate that. Here's the thing. Oh, here comes my dog clippity-clapping across the floor. Okay, so, here's the thing. If in my last life, I'll just use me as an example. In my last life, I was a woman. I know this. I have past life experiences that I can see where I was a woman. I had my ovaries ripped out for practicing witchcraft, okay? By this thing that looked like a crochet needle with a point on the end. They shoved it into me, and I have a mole. I'm not going to show you right now, but I have a mole right where my ovaries would have been. I was a woman in my last life, and they tortured me to death for practicing witchcraft. Does that mean that I'm going to go cut off my penis and tell everybody that I'm a woman and they need to call me a woman? No, that's silly. Life, existence. Okay, existence. If you read my book, you'll see that I believe that my free online book, of course, you can find any information on my YouTube page. Ascension is free by Derwin Sherwood. You can see that I believe that we are all parts of the universe having experiences for the universe. Yahweh, Satan, humans, animals, every being, every entity is created as a part of the universe. I believe the universe split itself into an infinite amount of beings, entities, whatever, so that it could have experiences, okay? So for you to have the best experience, you start out real low. Maybe you start out as a plant, and then you reincarnate as an animal, and you probably have a few lifetimes as animals, maybe as an insect, and then as a mammal, and you work your way up. You know, some animals have less consciousness or less smarts than other animals. I'm not going to pick and choose which ones I'm going to eat, because I don't eat animals. I don't like that, but that's my choice. But the thing is, you're supposed to continue to have different experiences each lifetime, so that the universe and the whole, the Great Spirit, whatever you want to call it, can have more experiences. That's why the universe created gods, goddesses, and all of everything. Okay? And so, your last life you're a woman, this life you're a man. If you are in touch with your spirituality a little bit, you probably remember a little bit about that last life. The Illuminati's like, oh no, what are we going to do? People are going to start ascending, and then once people start ascending into 5D and higher, you know, higher density beings, we aren't even going to be here for them to control anymore. Not only do they lose their power over us as we turn into demigods ourselves, but they lose anyone to control anyway here on Earth. And they don't want that. You know, they want us to all stay in 3D, in the third density, third dimension on this planet, so that they can continue to make us their slaves and us work for them. They like being in control. They like doing whatever they want to do. And whether that's reprobate mindset, evil, pedophilia, garbage, people that need to be reincarnated again. And you know, those people might be reincarnated as the victims in their next life. That's none of my business. I'm just here to tell you how I see it. People who want to hurt others are wrong and need to be jailed for life. And people who want to just grow drugs, like grow weed in their closet, should be left alone. I don't do that because that's not because it's wrong, but because I don't want to go to jail. You know, but it is what it is. One day it'll be legal. But if you want to have a sex change, that's your decision. Most libertarians will tell you that's your decision, and I'm not going to stand in your way. In fact, I'll fight for your right to be able to make that choice. Because if they take away your right to make that choice today, then tomorrow they can take away my right to the choices I want to make for my life. But the thing is, I hear people say, I wish I could come back as a cat next life so I can be lazy. Well, that's going backwards, okay? That's backwards on the ascension path. And that's not going to move you forward to becoming a demigod. You know, it's not going to help you rise to the level of Pleiadians, Arcturians, gods and goddesses, okay? That's going to make you go backwards. Same goes for if last life you were one gender and this life you're the next gender, and then you want so desperately to recapture what you were in your last life, so you have a surgery and try to convince people that you are the other gender. Now, I believe in respect. I try to respect people. I had a transgendered individual working for me a few years back, and I respected that person enough to call them she, as they asked us to do, as they asked everyone to do. And she was a very beautiful person. She was a very hard worker. I try not to judge people. You know, I really don't want to judge anybody, but if people are a lazy piece of crap, I'm not going to want to be around you, okay? If you're a hard-working person and you take care of yourself and your family and your home, that's the kind of thing I like to see. people who sit around playing video games and doing drugs all day, that's none of my business, but I'm not going to hang out with you. People who bust their butts all day long, again, life's not about making rich people richer, but you still have to provide food for yourself. You have to provide shelter for yourself. You have to provide these things for your family and be there for your family. If you create a life, you have to be there to raise that child until they are old enough to raise themselves. And far be it for me to tell someone else how they should or shouldn't raise their children, how they should or shouldn't live their life. Okay, I'm just telling you the things that I have as I see them, you know. If you want to be transgendered, go ahead. If you want to be a sinner, sin, you know. I mean, we think it's a Christian term, but it's actually more of a global term. Even non-Christians have a word for sin or for doing the wrong thing, whatever that may be. Now, I don't believe in the Bible, so I'm not going to believe that what the Bible says is a sin is actually a sin. Like, I certainly don't worship Yahweh in any way, shape, or form, and he says, thou shalt worship no other gods before me, and that's one of his sins. If you don't worship him, you don't get to step out of Ascension and just go to his heaven and be an angel and maybe work your way up to an archangel and never become a demigod. None of my business. You want to do that? Do that. Go worship Yahweh. Not a problem. You want to be a Satanist? I don't like that either, but it's none of my business as long as you're not hurting people. If you're going out in the streets and beating people up because they have a different political belief than you, then I'm ready to stop somebody. Then I want to fight somebody. I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative, all right? If you're a racist, then you can think what you want to think as long as you don't go hurt people. If you go hurt people because of their skin color, you're wrong and you have to be stopped. If you go try to hurt people because of their political beliefs or their religious beliefs, then you have to be stopped. But you can think whatever you want to think, okay? You're allowed to have whatever thought processes in your mind that you want. And to have liberals or conservatives try to brainwash or groom your children in schools in order to convince them that they should be the way that the teachers think or the way that the school board or the state thinks, then that's wrong, okay? School should be for math and, like, science, whatever that is anymore. I mean, there's real science, but not what they're pushing. And I mean, or real history or grammar and things like that, how to write a book, you know, so you can write your story down. But not about political beliefs. That has no place in school, but here's teachers teaching political belief anyway, in the north, south, east, west, liberal, conservative, whatever it may be. That's wrong. So here's the thing. If you want to sin and it doesn't hurt anybody else, you have every right to sin. When a Christian tries to tell you not to sin, and then you say, I don't care, I don't believe that's a sin, and then they try to make a law about it. Oh, you can't drink. Oh, you can't gamble. Oh, you can't chop off your body parts and tell other people that you're a gender, that you've changed your gender. That's not for other people to tell you what you can or can't do, okay? You're allowed to do that. Now, if you want to go out and hurt kids, you want to go out and hurt children, you want to go brainwash children, you want to go molest children, you want to go beat up people for being a different skin color or a different political belief, that's messed up, and you need to be stopped. Those people need to be stopped. The people that want to hurt others need to be stopped, okay? So, I mean, here we are in society fighting over whether or not teachers should be teaching transgenderism in schools. Well, that's a parent's right to teach their child about it. I don't even think sex ed needs to be taught in school, but then, you know, if some parents teach their child abstinence, their kid's going to they could very well go off and get pregnant because they want to rebel against their parents. Sex ed at this point has no place in schools, okay? No sex ed of any kind has place in school. But, you know, that's just my opinion, you know, and I'm not a politician. I'm not running for Illuminati office, and, you know, so this is just my spiritual opinion. But without being allowed to sin, without being allowed to do the wrong things, whether it's right or wrong in one person's opinion, right or wrong in another person's opinion, we can't grow as individuals. We can't grow as a being for the universe that is trying to have experiences. If we're just put into this itty-bitty little box, and then we're told that we just have to be in that box until we die and go to heaven or die and go to hell. We're not having experiences for the universe that way, okay? Or maybe that's the experience you are supposed to have for the universe, but In order to ascend, going backwards to an animal or going backwards in your next life to something that is that has less consciousness is not the proper thing to do if you want to become a more conscious being. Same thing goes if last life you were one gender, this life you're the next, because you're supposed to have experiences as that gender, now you're supposed to have experiences as this gender. Going backwards isn't going to help you, okay? It might feel right. I used to have a little bit of gender dysphoria because I was a liberal and I thought white men were evil and white men were wrong when I was in college. I lived with liberals and I was raised by liberals, and women didn't really want to date me because I was turning into a beta male. And there weren't enough, and back then, you know, there weren't really a lot of people who wanted anything to do with beta males. And I'm glad about that now because I'm trying to become more and more of an alpha male as I grow older. But I'm also not trying to be this macho dude that's going to go fight people. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not, like, that's silly too, you know. An alpha male is a good father to his family, a good husband to his partner, my wife, you know, in my case, or your partner. If you want to be gay, man. No problem. I don't want people to cut off their body parts, okay, and get into a fight over what pronouns to use and then make up new pronouns and say, oh, you didn't know the pronouns I made up last week and you can't call me my right pronoun. That's silly. Okay, just be nice about it. Be like, oh, actually, I prefer she over he or he over she. Cross-dress, that's fine. Change your name. I changed my name, you know. I didn't keep my slave Illuminati government name, you know. To heck with that. But, I mean, it's just, I hate to see people cut off perfectly good body parts. A friend of mine said that. She's very LGBT friendly. And she said, I just hate to see people cut off good body parts and that are working perfectly fine when other people are born without being able to do that, you know, without being able to have that body part, or some women are born without being able to have children, and then women are going and cutting off their body parts so they can't have children when these other people over here wish they could. It's your choice though. You know what? I'm not going to take away your right to do anything, and if you're mad about this video, then you need to re-examine yourself, because I'm not trying to take away your rights. You're trying to take away, I bet that if you're mad about this video, you're trying to take away other people's rights to raise their children the way that they want to. Now, if you're hurting your child, physically abusing them, blacking their eyes, or molesting them, then you need to have your children taken away. You're an awful person, and you need to have lifelong therapy. And then in your next life, I don't believe in the death penalty either. Your next life, you're going to be in a world of hurt from your karma, you know? That's what karma's all about. That's what karma's there for. I'm not karma. You're not karma. The law isn't karma. We only have to we should be locking up people who want to take away the freedoms of others. Okay? And that's it. That's it. You're free to do anything you want as long as you don't hurt other people or try to take away their freedom to do whatever they want or to live their life the best way that they can. So, the whole point is, I want everyone to ascend to higher densities, to higher densities of being, to become demigods or Arcturians and Pleiadians and extra-terrestrials and stuff like that. I want people to be able to, as much as I love Gaia and want to be here with Mother Earth and my sister goddesses, I want to move up too, to be like them. And in order to do that, we have to elevate our consciousness. And starting a civil war in America because liberals and conservatives hate each other so much because the media and the Illuminati have convinced them that the Illuminati-owned media has convinced them to hate each other so much. They don't care what you think. The media isn't your friend. They aren't on your side, okay? I mean, they're not the liberal media. CNN's not trying to support liberal agenda, and Fox isn't trying to support conservative agenda. They are both Illuminati owned and operated machines of propaganda machines, okay, that want you to believe whatever the Illuminati wants you to believe. Right now, they just want you to fight each other. They want you to hate each other and kill each other. They want liberals and conservatives to kill each other so that they can decrease the population. They don't have to decrease the population that way. They don't have to sit here and come after us for our beliefs because they're making the other team come after us for our beliefs. And it's like that saying, when they came for this group, I didn't care because I wasn't that group. When they came for that group, I didn't care. When they came for this group, I didn't care. When they came for me, there was nobody left for me. Sorry, there was nobody left to help me fight, to defend me, to help me defend myself, because we all hated each other. We all have to band together and fight the people who, or not even fight them. I don't even know if fighting is the right thing. I was listening to Alan Watts the other day, and he was saying, the biggest problems come from people trying to fix the problems. People start a war to try to make peace. People fight other people that they disagree with to try to fix a problem, and then that just makes everything worse. That's what Alan Watts was saying, and it was a really good, I really liked what he was saying. Doesn't mean I don't want to go out and stop people from hurting kids, like I still kind of want to fight people who want to hurt children. That's the most heinous, awful, god-awful, disgusting crime there is to hurt kids, and those people need to be locked away that want to hurt kids or manipulate or brainwash kids into thinking that kids should be in sexual relationships with older people. That has to stop. We got to stop that mess. But I'm not, I can defend myself, but I'm not trying to go out and fight people either, so like, where's the level, where's the balance? I don't know, but I just want to take away anyone's freedom who wants to take away the freedoms of others. No one should be allowed to continue to be a part of society if they want to take away somebody else's freedoms, whether that's liberal to conservative, conservative to liberal, or whatever it may be. But without making mistakes, we can't ascend. Okay? We have to learn from our mistakes. And if that means learning in our next life, so be it. I hate to see people make the wrong decisions, but it's not for me to tell you what the wrong decision is. It's only for you to figure it out. Maybe this life, maybe next life. We can ascend to be demigods ourselves. That's the whole point of life, is ascension. To ascend, to become a demigod or an archangel or a Pleiadian or an Arcturian or an extra-terrestrial or whatever it may be. That's the point of life. There you go. Meaning of life, ascension. Okay? But it takes time. And it's not for me to tell you how to ascend. It's only for all of us to defend the freedoms of everyone else for them to ascend. Look at other countries that, in Eastern countries, I'm not going to name any off, but look at a lot of the Eastern countries that take away more rights, more freedoms from their people. It's all because those leaders want to be able to control the masses. They want to hold on to the control that they have and retain the control that they have. It's not to have peace. It's not to keep people from going into civil unrest. It's to keep you or those people from ascension, from learning, from having life experiences. Because if those people ascend, they lose their power over us. They lose their power over them. They lose their power over us if we ascend. So, I hope it all makes sense. Feel free to message me, find me on Facebook, send me a friend request. If you don't like me, just send me questions or say whatever you want to say. Freedom of speech means everybody has the right to say whatever they want, including hate speech, including something that might hurt somebody else's feelings. Something that hurts my feelings doesn't hurt your feelings. I'm not going to take away your right to say something nasty. You shouldn't take away my right to say something nasty. If you don't like it, walk away. Okay? Don't try to censor people. Don't try to say people can't say things, because free speech is about all we got left, right? They're trying to take that away too. Freedom of religion. Lots of people want to take that away. Can't have that. It's all about more freedoms as long as you aren't hurting others and preventing others from having the same freedoms as you. Living the same life that they want to live. Whatever, that may not be the same life as you. Trying to force people to live the same life as you is wrong. You might be right, I might be wrong. I might be right, you might be wrong. We won't know until the afterlife, right? We won't know until the next life. We won't know until we ascend. It's not for any one of us to tell each other how to live, as long as we're not hurting each other. But that's all anybody wants to do right now. They're listening to the media, and they're listening to the government, their political party. They're listening to, left is listening to the left, right's listening to the right. And here's the people in the middle ground, libertarians or Buddhists, and not that those things are the same by any means, because they're not, but people who believe in freedom, or people who just want you to be enlightened, are just trying to sit here and simply say, hey, can't we all get along before we start killing each other? Like, that's what we want. We don't want anybody killing each other. We don't want people dying in the streets. We don't want civil war. We don't want World War III, okay? But without common ground and without peace, if we keep on turning on the television set and watching news, mass media, keep on listening to YouTubers that are preaching hate and divisiveness, we're just going to become more and more hateful. Somebody said to me yesterday, they said, you know, it's easier for people who grow into hate to not go to war, but when those people raise their children to hate, and their children believe wholeheartedly that this hatred that they have for the other team is acceptable, the next generation will start fighting more, and then the next generation will start fighting even more than that. I don't want nuclear war. You don't want nuclear war. The only way we're going to be able to get through this is by coming together and making peace. Stepping out of the Illuminati system. Stepping out of the system of hate that wants to breed hate. And trying to make peace with the people that we disagree with. I'm down to help. I'm down to try. I hope you are too. I hope you go check out my free online book, No Strings Attached, alright? Ascension is free. It's on Amazon Kindle, Kobo, or Barnes & Noble's Nook. Free download. You can get a paperback version on Amazon for like $5.55, but if you want a free download, I ain't trying to make any money on it, you know? It's free. I'm not trying to sell you anything with my book either, so I hope you check it out. Blessings, love, praise be to the goddess.